Hey y'all, welcome to the Queen Effect podcast, where we discuss relatable situations that occur in our everyday lives. Our goal is to create a safe space where we can learn, teach, and uplift one another. I'm Madam IJ.
I'm Shay Monet, the Golden Goddess.
And I'm Coco.
Hey, Royal Family. In this episode, we'll be talking about being still during your season of singleness, as well as the difficulties of being single. Ladies, why is it so hard for us to just enjoy being single while we're single? Because we all know that once we get into a relationship, we're going to have to pour into that relationship. That relationship is going to take so much of our time and our energy. Why is it so hard for us to just enjoy ourselves while we're single?
I think that it's hard because we don't really want to be single. Like, everybody goes to that phase where they're like, I need my me time and I just want to go out and have a good time and just talk to whoever and do whatever. But who really wants to be alone? At the end of the day, everybody wants somebody.
Nobody.
Okay. At the end of the day, everybody wants somebody to come home to and lay up with and have, their partner. So I think that's why it becomes difficult for women like us because ultimately we do want to be in happy, thriving relationships.
Yes, that is so true. However, I'm learning to enjoy my single season because I'm learning so much about myself. I'm learning so much about myself to the point where it's exposing areas of my life that needs my attention. And I know that as I'm strengthening those areas, I'll be a better person for whoever that man is for me. So I try to focus on the good side of that, but I'm not going to lie. It does get lonely from time to time, but I have to remind myself also, don't let that loneliness make you a fool, because when I'm a fool in that state of mind, I'm going to be out here looking for something that I shouldn't be looking for.
Yeah, I agree. I've never really been single. And my issue is when I jump out of one relationship, I jump right back into another because I am so afraid to be alone. I don't want to be lonely. Um, and I always feel like having a boyfriend or having somebody by my side will validate me. But now that's what I'm learning, like knowing that it's okay to be by myself. But then I'd be like, it's not okay, if that makes any sense. Like a part of me be like, girl, you got this, independent woman type stuff. I don't need a man. But then days really get boring sometimes and I get lonely. So I have to learn how to love myself enough to know if I'm not in a relationship, you got you, girl. You your own best friend. But I mean, realistically speaking, I'm human. I don't want to be by myself. But at the same time, it's like having that mindset will cause me to lust or just love anybody because I'm afraid to be alone. And I don't want to do that. I want to come out of that.
Yeah, I encourage you to come out of it because we don't do desperate vibes over here. We don't do dependent vibes, because what happens is you needing validation from other people. You're gonna always seek that from someone. Like whether that's your man, your friend, your colleagues, you're gonna always seek that from someone else when you should be seeking that from within. So that is one of the things that you can learn during your season. A lot of us had to learn that during our season. We don't need outside sources to validate us, and it is scary being alone, only because you're by yourself. But we was brought into this world alone. We have to figure out a lot of things on our own, and when it's our time, we're going to go alone. So it's as scary as it is, there's beauty in that space because you're growing, and every time you grow and be a better version of yourself, that's going to help you to figure out what is it that I actually need from the person. Because for me, every time I'm bettering myself, what I'm able to provide for myself, if you can't provide that, then you're not the one, because I'm already giving it to myself. So you have to be able to match my energy and also give me something else, because we're both going to be pouring into each other. I'm not going to be the only one pouring into you, and you're not going to be the only one pouring into me. So it's very important to make sure that while you're single, you can hold it down for yourself. But it is hard, you know.
Definitely making sure that you know who you are, not only just pointing to yourself, but like you're 100% whole.
Yeah, you made a good point. I think my problem is even when I am by myself, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know why I feel like that's not good enough. I think I need to know that I'm good enough. And a lot of women, are going through what I go through, and they just sometimes don't know how to express it or talk to somebody about it. But I've always felt like I need someone else by my side. Like I need a man by my side to validate me. And I'm slowly coming out of that, as I get older, because I'm slowly learning myself. I feel like I'm like that because I don't know myself. So even with my friends and family, I'm like that as well. I'll always go to them like, oh, how does this look? Or do I look okay? Or, what do you think about this? It's always me being a people pleaser. And the thing about me being a people pleaser when it comes to relationships, let's say I'm with a guy and he might not be the one for me, but because I want to stay in the relationship just to please him, I'm pouring into him, but it's like I'm not doing that for myself, and neither is he doing it for me. So I do have a lot of adjustments to make in my life as a young adult that I'm doing now. But this is just me being vulnerable with my sisters. It's like that's the type of person I am. Even now, I'm single, but I still have someone that I deal with. I didn't give me enough time to heal from the last relationship I was in, even though it's not like we're boyfriend and girlfriend, you know?
The scary thing about that is if you haven't fully healed from the last relationship, then it's not gonna last. And I don't want to like sound negative or like be like a Debbie Downer because I'm not God. So it could last, but you're not whole. My next situation, I want to be so whole and complete. And the person that I am with, I want them to be whole and complete. I don't want to heal them. I don't want them to heal me. Because if we're both whole, then we can both love each other the way that we should love each other. And IJ and I have actually had this conversation before. Sometimes it's not that we're single because there's not anybody out there for us, but God is making us be still because we may not be ready for what it is that we're asking or that we're looking for. I had a wise person once tell me, you pray for blessings, you pray for things, but then you get them and you drop the ball. And it's not that you drop the ball purposely, but you don't know what to do with it. So instead of praying for that blessing, instead of praying for that relationship, instead of praying for that happiness, instead of praying for that success, pray that you are able to receive it and handle it properly once you get it. So I think that that's like a major thing just in really healing ourselves because as bad as I want to be in a relationship, I know that there are so many different things that I can improve and that I can work on so that I can be great for my next husband, for my next man. Because this time around, it's really going to be till death do us part. Ain't no walking away.
Yep, I completely agree. I just want to read a scripture from Proverbs 19:21. This is the AMP version. And it says, many plans are in a man's mind, but it is the Lord's purpose for him that will stand or be carried out. And that really speaks to me because we're always trying to we're the ones trying to come up with the plans, and this is how things are going to go, and when things don't go according to our plans, we get so devastated. And it's such a slap in the face to God as Christians for us to say that we have so much faith in him, and yet we are so down on ourselves, and it's like we lose hope when things don't go according to plan. And we really have to trust that he has our backs. He has our best interests at heart. He's in the back preparing everything for us. And we just need to focus on the things that we can have control over, which is ourselves. We have control over what we need to fix in our lives, what we need to do for ourselves to be better versions of ourselves for ourselves and for our future partner. My man is coming. God knows I want my man. He knows I want to be like my man so damn bad. He knows that. And he's working on it. And if I can just step out of my way and stop, interacting with certain people that I know is not good for me, or if I can stop trying to like change myself for someone else, if I can stop trying to like, if I can just stand out of my own way and just focus on myself, the right person will come along and I'll be ready. In the meantime, there's some things that I want to learn. There are some things that I want to obtain. There's a version of me that I want to become. So, while God is over there building my man, whatever he's doing, because, Lord, you taking your time. Your time is the best time. But until my man comes, it's about me right now. And although, there's times I feel lonely, I have my friends, I have my family, like I can keep myself busy doing other things. And it falls back to what Cole was saying earlier, like seeking validation from other people. When you do stuff like that and it doesn't work, you're it kind of blinds you from seeing exactly what you could have done wrong because you're over analyzing yourself. You're not even like giving yourself a fair chance of seeing, okay, I could fix X, Y, and Z because now because they didn't want you or they ended a relationship, you're automatically saying, I'm the problem. I'm always the problem. I'm not good enough. And you're not taking that time to really change certain things about you because in your mind, you wasn't good enough because you wasn't chosen or you wasn't good enough because they didn't stick around. So we really have to be careful with that. And those are some of the shadow works you can do while you're single. But when you're single, it's not always just about healing, y'all. It's about having fun. Like we have to learn how to have fun by ourselves. Get your girlfriends, go out, get cute. And when your man comes, he gonna have to match that energy.
It's crazy because just to double back a little bit on the seeking of validation, sometimes it's not even that you're like seeking a validation or comparing yourself, but you start to look at what other people have going on in the world, especially with this being like a social media age and everybody's out and it's crazy because I remember being in a relationship and I felt like my single friends was having the time of their life. They was living their best life, going here, going there. And now
Mhm.
I'm single and to the outside world, it might look like I'm living my best life, but I'm like, damn. Okay, so she over here in love, he over here in love. They got this little family going on over there. So not even necessarily like over analyzing myself, but doing that comparison thing where it's like, okay, like I want that too. It's almost like a grass is greener type situation because when you had it, not that I didn't want it, but it was like, oh, okay, it look a little funner over there, right? And then now that I'm over there, I'm like, nah, I want to go back to being wifey. I want to go back to being happy and hanging out with your girlfriends and stuff. That is amazing. Like I am so thankful for y'all. I really am because we go out, we have a great time, we have great conversation, but it is not the same. It is not the same.
It will never be
Um,
the same.
it, right. So,
Right.
Yeah, it's not the same, but we're trying to focus on like the brighter side because we have a long list of negative sides, y'all. As you can see, we don't like to be lonely. We want our man there. We want our man to do this and do that. And who doesn't want that? So we're loving people. So we want to give that to somebody. So and it's crazy because you see all those great relationships, quote unquote, on social media, and then next thing you know, that nigga beat her ass or
mhm.
they out here doing this and doing that. And it's like she said, the grass is always greener on the other side. You always want something that you don't have.
So y'all know I have a devotional book that I read every morning. And it's crazy because in one of those mornings when I woke up and I was just feeling like, when is my time gonna come? Just in my crybaby mode. I read my devotion and basically the thing that stood out to me was it said to not spoil your quiet hours by wishing away, waiting impatiently to be active again. And I was like, damn, instead of processing and taking in things for what they are, again, like I'm trying to tell God what I want. I'm trying to tell him how to move. And he's sitting back laughing at me like, girl, you are ruining this experience and you're really making it take longer than what it has to take because you're so bent on it going your way and being your way. So I try to, when I start to feel like that, kind of take a step back and like, look at those lessons and do the inner work. And remember that, like you said, those people who look happy on social media, they really ain't happy they really be miserable or, doing stuff that they don't have no business doing. And when I get my man this time, like, I wanted to 100% be right. So
I do have that downside of rushing into things or rushing into one situationship after another. But there was a period of time, my last breakup, I took a few minutes to myself. I think it was like 3 weeks. I took like 3 or 4 weeks to just love me. And the thing that stood out to me was when I was reading my Bible, it was the verse that I always read, Proverbs 31:10-31. Speaking of the virtuous women. So I want to read something that I wrote in my notes. It says, as women, we need to commit to memorizing Proverbs 31:10-31 on what a virtuous woman is all about. I believe that many of us are not even one fourth of a virtuous woman. Let me define what the virtue mean, and then you can check the appendix for the breakdown in the scripture. So, being a virtuous woman to God, particularly, is a moral of excellence, knowing who you are, having active power to accomplish a given effort. That doesn't mean that we're not going to want a man, but that time of being that virtuous woman that God wants us to be, going back on what IJ and Shay said, is standing still, being okay with you, getting closer to God in that moment. Now, what I did in my past relationships, I always tried to play God or dictate how I wanted things to go. So when this last relationship that I was in, it didn't go like I wanted to. I'm like, okay, well, he made a mistake or he loves me still, and I'm just going to give it another try. But every time I thought about going back, God gave me a vision or gave me a hint, or the Holy Spirit told me, no, not right now, because you need to work on you. You're going to keep on repeating the same cycles if you don't work on you first. It's going to continue. It doesn't matter what guy you find. It can be a guy with a lot of money. He give you the world. But until I do the eternal work within myself to be that virtuous woman that God wants me to be, every man is gonna do the same thing to me, and I'm gonna keep falling for it because I'm not where God wants me to be. I do believe I'm slowly getting there. As I said, I'm not in a relationship. I got a friend, situationship, whatever you want to call it. But during this time, I'm still single, dealing with somebody. And is that a good thing or a bad thing? I won't say. But ultimately, during this time for me, I'm still focused on me and what I want to do and where I want to become.
Girl, that's a bad thing. The fuck? Listen,
relationship.
you are in a situationship. That thing hurts more than a relationship. When that thing ends, it hurts more because
Yeah,
you don't even have a title. Y'all not even anything for real.
I think that what's important though is like you gotta realize like just because you don't have a title, to me being single and healing means there's not somebody who's up under you majority of the week. There's not somebody that you're talking to all day, every day. There's not somebody that you're checking in with. There's not someone that you're telling I love you. There's not someone that you're calling babe. Whether you put a title on it or not, that is a relationship. I just want to be clear on that.
right.
I was gonna let you have your moment, but you brought your little situationship
Listen.
up, and I'm like, okay, so since we opening that can, boo.
Wah, wah,
Hey, I don't have no
wah.
I don't have no secrets, no secrets. But I mean, yeah, I get it.
I think I just want for you to be okay and for you to heal. And y'all know, do what the fuck make you happy. So if this is what makes you happy, okay. But I also want for you to really take a step back and realize that until you actually take that time to yourself, you're not going to become whole because you're already attaching to this other person. And when a person, whether they answer the phone, whether they call you back, whether they come through or not, when that begins to affect your I don't want to say your day-to-day life, but when that can fuck up your mood, like, oh, I haven't heard from him today, my mood's fucked up, you kind of focus on the wrong things because you haven't even fully got you together. You get what I'm saying? So just my little tidbit.
Yeah,
I
I
gotta
understand that completely.
And while I'm single, this is my opportunity to make sure I know what it is that I want in a man and also who I want to be as a woman to my man and myself. Because I don't want to just allow anybody to just come into my space and to give me what they got. And it's not what I want. I'm okay with being single. I'm okay with waiting. I enjoy my peace. And if you're going to come into my life, you need to also bring me peace. If you bring me anything outside of peace, you can piece your way out the motherfucking door. Okay, that's it.
It's like you, not just you, we're working to become who we need to be because ultimately you attract who you are. You attract what you are. What I will say is, like, we got to be best friends. We got to
Mm-hmm.
be best friends, period. If we're best friends, if I can consider you to my best friends, then that means you possess all of the traits and qualities, and enough said, because I don't consider too many people to be like a best friend. So,
With that being said, I have a question. So you know how, we're single right now, and do y'all feel like sometimes like God may have forgotten about us in that aspect of getting the right man?
nope.
No, that is the devil talking. That is the devil talking. That is your flesh talking. That is your flesh. No, he did not forget about you. He never forgot about you.
Never ever.
That's why you gotta make sure you get your mind right. And it's okay if you
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
that way. We're human. I have also felt that way. I had to check myself, be like, girl, what you talking about up there? That's not true. It is so easy for our thoughts to shape our reality. That's why we have to be very mindful of what we think. What we think is what we say. What we say is how we move. How we move becomes a reflection of you.
It also has a lot to do, though, with you not fully knowing
Mhm.
yourself, because once you know yourself, certain things
Mhm.
you're not going to allow yourself to be in those situations anymore. You're going to recognize that yellow flag before it becomes a red flag. Like,
Mhm.
nope, I already know. I'm not feeling that. So it's like, it's not, God hasn't forgotten about you, but a lot of times He will continue to allow us to place ourselves in these situations until we learn those lessons. Oh, you didn't get it this time? Okay. Well, I'm gonna let you go. Oh, you think you're gonna go over here when I really want you to go over here and I told you to sit still? Okay, I'm gonna let you
Mhm.
go over there and I'm gonna let you learn this lesson again and again and again until you get it.
Cause like
Yeah.
honestly, what is the worst thing that can happen to you while you are alone versus being with someone that is the worst thing in this fucking planet? You are okay with dealing with someone that is cheating on you, beating on you, hurting you, abusing you, manipulating you, lying to you, taking away your peace, causing you to be stressed. Like those are some of the negative things that come with being with the wrong person. When you're by yourself, you don't have to worry about any of those things. And while you're by yourself, you're able to check yourself because you, a lot of the times, put yourself in that situation. You overlooked a lot of things. And if you had just been honest with yourself, honest with your intuition, honest with what they was giving you face value, you would have never even allowed yourself to be in that situation in the first place. You wouldn't, and as soon as it happened, you would have left. As soon as it happened, you would have left. But
You will
instead,
know.
you would know. And
That's
instead of just leaving, we're like, no, let's make it work, make it work. And God's like, Angel Danielle, let me know when she ready. I'm about to go work on this other girl right here. I'm about to go work on Susie because she playing games. I love her though, but
But that's true though. That is true indeed. Y'all said a mouthful, especially for me, because I don't know if it's called being super nice or over caring, but I just always have it where I'm giving a person the benefit of the doubt and they can keep showing me over and over who they are, but deep down inside I'm like, no, they're gonna change. Me doing this is gonna change them. I've been like that my whole life. And that's what I'm battling with now, being okay to say no and just noticing those yellow flags, like Shay mentioned before I even get there. Fuck giving the benefit of the doubt. Like once a person show you who they are, and I'm speaking to myself, I need to believe it. That don't mean they're a bad person. They're just not the person for me. And I have to stop allowing people, family, friends, and situationship guys to do that. So it's really hard because when you're a given person, and I just love seeing people happy, but I have to learn that seeing people happy should not cost me my happiness. And I do this with everyone I love. So that is going to be a challenge that, I'm going to try to get through with the help of my sisters, with the help of my close loved ones. I'm going to get there. But y'all, I'm being honest, it is the
With
hardest
the
thing.
help of yourself and God, because you're still saying, with the help of my sisters, with the help of my close
Well,
ones, we
yeah, you're right.
cannot
You're
do
right.
that. We cannot do
Right.
that work for you. We cannot. It's going to be certain things that you have to face alone. And I just want to double back. You said that you do things to change a person. You can't change anybody. It doesn't matter what you give, it doesn't matter what you do. I promise you, if they don't want to change and if they don't want to be better, they're not going to be that. And I know that firsthand because that's me. I'm always like, if I do this, okay, maybe you'll love me more. Maybe you'll pick me first. Oh, see, look, I did this different. I did that different. And a motherfucker's still going to be who they going to be. Regardless, it doesn't matter. So stop trying to change people and stop looking for outside validation, not just from a man, even from your friends, from this sisterhood, from your family. Get your journal, get on your knees, pray, meditate, get your thoughts out in the best way that you can. But you have to stop relying on everyone else to help you do the work. Sometimes that work has to be done on your own, and it sucks, and it gets really sad, and it gets really lonely, and it gets really depressed, and it gets really dark. And then, speaking from experience, time will go by and you feel like, okay, I'm good. Like, I didn't cry today. Ooh, a week went by, I didn't cry. 2 weeks, I didn't cry. Week 3, I'm crying because I'm human. And it's like, dang, I thought I was over it. You have to realize that healing comes in stages. You're not going to just wake up and be completely healed and whole. You know what I'm saying? So just give yourself a little more grace and
Mhm.
rely on you and rely on God.
Mhm.
Nobody else can do that for you. Just you and him.
Thank
Once
you
you
for
do
that.
that, you'll
Yeah.
be good.
Also, do not be afraid to explore those emotions because you cannot be afraid to sit still in that pain. You need to feel what you're feeling because when it comes back in full force. If you try to suppress it, it will come out and it can come at the wrong time. You might, project it on someone else. You have to be able to sit there and really allow yourself to feel what you need to feel and understand why am I feeling what I'm feeling. And once you are able to understand the root of that pain and the reason why you are still going through that pain, once you've spent that time with it, you have the power, the inherited power that God has given you to release it. It's not a part of you. It's not a part of you. It doesn't need to stay with you. You can experience it and you can show it the door. So that's what we need to learn how to do. We need to learn how to sit in it, not be afraid. But that's doing shadow work. You have to get to the root cause of the problem. And a lot of times, because we keep experiencing this pain, we've become so familiar with it that we're expecting it. We claim it as part of our identity. It's not part of our identity. It's just something that we went through. And you're not the only one that's been through it. So you shouldn't be carrying it. And Jesus died for us. So give him that burden. And I'm not saying all these things like, oh, I know what to do. This is what you're supposed to do, guys. I'm saying it because I also experienced these things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still experiencing these things. Like these advice that I'm giving is advice that God has given me, advice that I've heard someone tell someone else, advice that I heard someone tell me. So what I'm saying are things that I went through personally. I'm not going to sit here and give y'all personal details of certain situations. Some episodes I will share some things, but for the most part, I'm just going to be general. But just know that even if I'm being general, it's coming from personal experiences. You're going to be fine. You're going to be okay. You need to really work on not seeking that validation because it's making you dependent on other people. If it's not your mom, it's going to be your sister. If it's not your sister, it's going to be your man. If it's not your man, it's going to be your child. It's like you're depending on someone to be there. And we're not going to always be there. Just like you tell your son, you're not going to always be there as a mom. He's going to be in situations where he has to figure it out on his own. And, luckily, the seeds that you planted in him, he'll be able to take that with him. When you're not there, God is with him. So it's that same thing that you do for other people, you have to do for yourself. And it's a learning experience. And during this single season, that's the perfect time to focus on your garden. Like you don't have anybody else giving you any outside stress. You don't have to worry about anybody else right now but you. So focus on you and focus on your healing and focus on what makes me happy. What do I actually love doing? What do I not want to do anymore? What do I want to get rid of? Like you have the power to shape your reality. Every day that we're given, you have the power to decide, I want to be different today. I want to do things different. I want to wear things like this. I want to present myself like this. It's your playground. Play. Figure out what
Amen.
makes you you. And when he comes along, he better be ready because you're a whole new person. And if he's not aligned with who you are, it's never gonna work. It's just never gonna
Jackpot.
work.
Jackpot. Duly noted.
I just want to add one last thing. Sometimes when we're living our lives, we're all God fearing women. We all believe in Jesus Christ. But sometimes when we're living our lives and we're moving around and we're working and we're navigating through life and we're in these relationships, we don't pray as much. Not that we don't pray, but we don't pray as much. We don't
Bingo.
devote as much time to God as we need to devote to God. He's not coming up in as many conversations as he should be coming up in. And we know that one thing about God is that he's a jealous God, meaning nothing and no one should come before him. So sometimes we will be humbled and we will be made to sit still, because if the only way I can get to you is when you're sad and depressed and you're feeling weak and you're feeling down and you're feeling alone, if that's the only way that I can get to you, okay, sis, have it your way. But I'm going to get to you because you mine. So it's like, we have to remember that when we do get these relationships that we want and the things that we're looking for, we have to keep, like IJ said earlier, we have to keep God in them. We have to keep God first. We have to keep it in the midst of it all, because I promise you, the same way he gives it to you, he will snatch it, he will take it away from you. Also, I was just looking back over this thing and it said, my strength and power show themselves most effective in weakness. Your quiet trust makes a powerful statement in spiritual realms. So don't stress. Put your faith and trust in him. That's what he wants. That's what he's looking for. He wants for us to turn to him, not a man, not anybody else. When you feel down and you feel weak, turn to him. And that's what we all have to do. I'm not just speaking to you, but as I'm speaking to you, I'm reiterating conversations and lessons and thoughts that I've already had for myself. Why is God going to give me the thing that I want most when I'm not giving him what he wants most?
We hope that you all enjoyed today's episode. Thanks for tuning in to the Queen Effect podcast, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Follow us on our other social media platforms. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter under @TheQueenEffect, as well as Facebook and YouTube under The Queen Effect. If there's a specific topic you want us to cover, or if you want to send us an anonymous question for our Dear Sis segments, email us at thequeeneffect@gmail.com.